Are believers who die from COVID 19 to be considered martyrs? So, this is a really important issue which started to become apparent even more so than what it is originally when we were washing the deceased. And there were some that saying, no, you don't need to wash them because they are shaheed. So, this needs clarification, let alone the tasalli, the feeling of some kind of, settlement and peace that it will give to the family as well. Let me say this. The scholars, a vast majority of the scholars, they divide the concept of the martyr, the shaheed, all right, the one who reaches that incredibly high level of literally being in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, literally like witnessing, as the word indicates linguistically, into two types. One is the shaheed who is considered to be a martyr in this life and in the next life, and then those that are only considered shuhada, martyrs, in the next life. So the absolute creme de la creme, alpha primary level shaheed, the one that is no difference of opinion, is the one who is killed fighting the enemy. Whether that happens on a battlefield or in some other kind of arena, but that's the real mujahid who has died for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, set out with that intention, sacrificed everything and did it for the sake of Allah. This is a person who has great honor. They are not washed, they are buried in that exact same state, using their clothes in their bloody state. That blood will be a evidence and a blessing and a protection from the fire. They will be raised like that, and all of everything that he'll be known as a shaheed. The family will be known as the family of the shaheed, and it doesn't get any better. It's the absolute best. That person's a hero. Everything's great. That's in his dunya, let alone in the akhirah. So this is the full shaheed. Everything else is now secondary to this. Now, where does the discussion come from? Well, the discussion comes from the fact that we have a huge number of hadith which in bit parts discuss other types of shuhada. So the Prophet ﷺ in one hadith, for example, he said, Al-Mabtoon Shaheed, Al-Mad'un Shaheed, Sahib al-Hadam Shaheed. He said, the one who dies from stomach condition, Shaheed. The one who dies from plague, Shaheed. The one who has something has fallen upon him or crushed him, he is shaheed. In another hadith, an-nufasa, those who are in labor, they die. A baby or the embryo will or the fetus, if you like, will drag them into Jannah, like shaheed. Other hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, al-harq shaheed, those people in a sail, shaheed. So those who burn, those who are drowned. Sahib al-Jamb, the one who dies of pleurisy, of pneumonia, or a very kind of painful chest condition, shaheed. So many hadith actually that talk about these different types. Those who are suffering from COVID-19 could come under Sahib Jamb, those that are having this problem of pleurisy or pneumonia or really painful condition of the respiratory system. They could come under that, and that's why a number of scholars are considered them to have died of as martyrs, and some just said, look, al-mat'un, which is plague itself, the pandemic that we have right now is like that. And just for the record, I just want to say that I do not consider COVID-19 to be the plague. And I do not consider it to be, and I don't mean that from here, obviously, oh really, Sherlock? I don't mean that in the general sense, that it's not the plague. Of course it's not the plague, but I mean it doesn't take the full legal rulings of the plague. That is a qiyas ma al-fariq, as we say, from a fiqh point of view. There are too many differences for it to take the same legal rulings. However, in my actual opinion, I do not believe that it is only these categories that are shuhada. We have so many evidences that would indicate that actually the shuhada of those who are shuhada in the akhirah, they get the great reward and the honor of shaheed. That I think they get that if there's some incredible difficulty or pain or shock involved in their death, such as unlawfully being killed, such as someone who's defending their family, such as someone who dies in an attack and so on, or assassinated, etc. I think all of these shocking kind of deaths, painful deaths, any drawn out kind of death that has real, these are all forms of martyrdom. And so therefore, I do think those that are COVID-19 victims are shuhada. But I want to again emphasize, what does it technically mean that they are shuhada? It means that they are honored in the next life, and it should be you that should feel better that your deceased has gone out that way. But that does not mean that they are treated like shuhada in this life. They must be washed, they must be shrouded, they must be prayed over janazah, they must be buried properly. They don't get the actual technical realities of the normal shaheeds, the A-level, the one who dies on a battlefield, the one who dies fighting the enemy. All of these are what we call shaheed hukman, not the one that we get actual legal rights for in this life. So I hope that clarifies that. This shahada is an honor and a respect to give us some kind of sabr and happiness with Allah's decree and honor in the afterlife, not something which gives them a legal ruling of not being buried and not being washed and shrouded in this life. And Allah knows best.
Subscribe to this channel, share this video, and click on the bell icon so that you can be notified with every new video at Faith IQ. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.